Good evening. Welcome to Truth Seekers. My name is Mike Fishkin. As usual, Jay Saylor is seated next to me. And this program is all about truth seeking, philosophical, spiritual truth seeking. So if you're buzzing through the channels and you're interested in why we're here, is there any evidence as to why we're here? Is there any purpose to life? Is there any evidence for that? That's what we're into, and we love to discuss that. And the last few months, we've been talking a lot about the term you used last week, a paradigm shift. That all of our cultures, subtly, whether you know it or not, being seduced into an openness to altered states of consciousness and an openness to the spiritual, but it's in a dangerous way as opposed to a positive way, and both are there. And we last week showed some film on Harry Potter, and we're going to continue with that, talking about how Harry Potter is a pretty seductive way to prepare kids for things that really aren't in their best interests and that feed into this paradigm shift. And we'll explain more in a little bit. We're going to go into a 10-minute film clip. This great work done by Joe Schimmel and Christian Pinto. And they've done a lot of great work. We've shown film clips before theirs relating to Hollywood and the Gnostic movement in Hollywood, and also tied into this paradigm shift. And a lot of the Christian church is being seduced into this paradigm shift as well. We'll talk more about that after this 10.5-minute film clip. And we're live. There are two phone numbers up there. If you're watching on Saturday night tonight, September 20th, 2008, that means you can call us up. We'll answer the phone. We'll talk to you. If you have spiritual questions relating to truth seeking, we'd love to talk to you. And we'll do that after this 10.5-minute clip. So we're going to run that right now, and we'll be back in 10.5 minutes, and we'll talk some more, and maybe to you at that point in time.
Is it merely coincidence that Harry Potter has such strong communication with the serpent, one that increases as the series moves forward? Many Christian researchers agree that for centuries the serpent has represented Satan's communication in the occult sciences and pagan religions of the world. Researchers Dave Hunt and Carol Matriciana explain the significance of the serpent in world religion and more on how it is defined from a biblical perspective.
Well, it's interesting that Satan is first introduced to us as a serpent. Now, I don't understand that entirely. Probably he spoke through a serpent, a literal serpent. And maybe the serpent at that time was very beautiful. They look hideous. To me, anyway, they're repulsive. Now, somebody says, well, that's a myth. No, it's not a myth. I mean, we have serious scientists today who are trying to communicate with dolphins. They're trying to teach the alphabet to chimpanzees. Your North American Indian witch doctors communicate with the spirit in the rock, or in the tree, or in the waterfall, or in the eagle, or whatever. You have people like Phil Jackson, who's very much into North American Indian witchcraft and the whole thing. It's a very up-to-date idea, because this is the way Satan communicates, through physical things. He doesn't have a physical form of his own. So all the, if you want to be a shaman from Siberia to South America, why, they have power animals. It's a jaguar or a coyote, and they go on a mystical journey to get a spirit guide, which could be an animal. This is what they're into. Now, it's very interesting that the Bible is the only book that identifies the serpent as the evil one. I mean, if you go back to ancient Greece, the Orphic egg, the symbol of the cosmos, has got a serpent around it. If you went to the Oracle of Delphi, 3 tripods, each one is intertwined with serpents. You go to India, Shiva, one of the Trimurti of the Hindu gods, he's got serpents in his hair.
Shiva is the embodiment of the snake power. and he has a snake wound around him and snakes in his hair. And the whole point of snake power is that it is so powerful that you can have that power, that you want that power.
Yoga is depicted in the Bhagavad Gita as a raft made out of cobras. You know, and the very yoga is presented as a cobra. There are cobra positions in yoga.
In yoga, the snake is believed to be coiled at the bottom of the spine, and you wake it up through yoga, and you bring the serpent power up through you, and bring it up to your third eye here, in the ultimate enlightenment, when you become a God-man or the enlightened man. So, in a sense, it doesn't matter what culture one goes through, snake power is divinely powerful, a power to be acquired, a power that in the mystical religions and the mystery religions is a potential within oneself that one wants, one needs to become a better person.
You got the Hopi Indians worshiping serpents. You got them in everywhere, all over the world, every religion, all the pagan religions. Serpents, dragons. He's also called the dragon. Dragons. You could go to the symbol of modern medicine. Well, it began in the temple of Asclepius. He was the Greek and Roman god of medicine. And, you know, the staff of Asclepius today, the caduceus, has serpents twined around it. Asclepius was worshipped with serpents because of an ancient myth that said Asclepius the god had received a healing herb at the mouth of a serpent. Now we have the Genesis story turned inside out. The serpent is no longer the destroyer, he's the healer. How does he heal us? Drugs with herbs. And so modern medicine, for all the good it has done, has been largely responsible for making us a drug society. Oversubscription, consciousness-altering drugs, and so forth. And if you went to the graduation next June of major medical school, UCLA, USC, wherever you want to go, when they receive their MD degree, they all quote the Hippocratic Oath. I swear by Asclepius, by Apollo, by Hygeia and Panacea, and by all the gods and goddesses. Okay? This is how it begins today. So this is not myth. The Bible is telling us what's happened is the very heart of the human race. It's a delusion that still haunts us. So then you come to Revelation 12. That old serpent, the devil, called the dragon, the deceiver, who deceives the whole human race. This is what he's been doing down through history and still is doing. And he kind of likes, I don't understand it, but he kind of likes to be known as the serpent.
You see, all this is basically promoting a climate to open people up to the spirit world. And you know what? It was predicted. The scriptures say, as I mentioned before, that in the last days some would depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. And it's interesting because I really believe that this stuff is demonically inspired. I have no doubt about it at all. But this is demonically inspired. In fact, it's interesting because Joanne Rowling, when she wrote these books under some very, very interesting circumstances. And she had some, what I would call, mystical experiences in writing these books. You know, that should not shock us, because look at what's coming out of her, right? Well, it's interesting. Joanne Rowling, she was born in 1966, and she says, quote, Halloween, you'd not be surprised to know, is my favorite holiday. She's had an interest in witchcraft since she was young. In fact, Rowling claims that many Wiccans claim that she's a witch. Many Wiccan witches claim that she's a witch. Rowling, if she is, has not come out of the closet. She's denied it. She says, quote, but I do believe something very magical can happen when you read a good book. And believe me, her books are considered good books. It's interesting, Emily